Hi everybody, welcome to 5 Minute Ministries. Now, in Matthew 25, there's a parable of a master who gives three of his servants some talents. He gives 5 to one, 2 to another, and 1 to the final guy. And they are divvied out based on their ability. Now, I'm just going to quickly paraphrase this parable and get on to the lesson because I have a lot to say on this subject. Now, turns out the master goes away, and when he comes back, he interviews the ones he gave the talents to, or the amount of money to, and the one with 5 and the one with 2, they doubled their efforts, and they got double the amount, and they were called good and faithful servants. Now the last guy, he took his 1 talent, he buried it, and when it came time for him to give account to what he did with what was given to him, he said, "I was afraid because you are a man who sows where you do not reaps where you do not sow, and you are a hard man. I'm giving you back what's yours." And he is called a lazy and wicked servant. Now, I say all this, really, if you read this parable, I want you to understand that this parable is not about the results. It's actually about the work itself. Sure, they were, the first two were praised because they doubled their efforts, but the commendation that the master gives is not, "Well done, you have doubled your money." It's, "Well done, you have been faithful in little, and you will be given much. You will be put over a lot of things," or whatever the phrase goes. Now to the last one, he was called lazy and wicked. He said, "You could have done something with what I have given you. Even if you just put it in the bank, something could be done." Now, I say all this because we are responsible for whatever God gives us. I've already discussed this before, and it remains an important thing, but I want you to understand it's about the service. It's about what you did with what God has given you. It's not about the results. When God tells you to give an account, He's not going to ask you, "How many people came to Christ? How many people did you bring to Christ?" He's going to ask you, "How many people did you tell Christ to?" He's not going to ask you how many people are in your congregation or your Sunday school class or your Wednesday night Bible study or whatever it may be. He's not going to ask how many people are there. He's going to ask you, did you do what I asked you to do? Did you speak my word? Did you reach people? Did you go out and tell people? Did you teach? Did you do the things I wanted you to do? He's not going to ask how big was your house, how luxurious was your car, how much money did you have in the bank. He's going to say, did you take the resources I give you and provide for your family? He's not going to ask, did your children become doctors and lawyers? He's going to he's going to ask, did you teach your children my word? He's not going to ask any of those questions. See, this world looks for results, and we're taught to do that. We are rewarded based on results. But God rewards in a different way. He rewards based on the service itself. And it doesn't matter how much you're given or how little you're given. What matters is, did you do what God called you to do? Now, accountability goes a little beyond that too. It's not just did you do it. Did you do it with a whole heart? Did you do it with a motive to serve God, or did you do it with a motive to serve yourself? Because there are plenty of people who are teaching God's word, who are trying to reach others for Christ, but they have no problem taking other people's money to do it. Their motive is not to reach people for Christ. Their motive is to reach people's pockets and take what's in it for themselves. There are plenty of people who are given a family, and they say, "Well, I provide," sure, but they don't provide other needs. They don't provide the emotional needs. They don't provide the time that is needed to raise the family. They don't spend any time with the wife and children. They're constantly at work, or they're constantly doing their hobbies and getting involved in their entertainment and ignoring their families. It's like, well, I bring home a paycheck, that should be good enough. But it isn't. Whatever God gives you, no matter how small, you need to be loyal to the things that God has given you. Even if it's just a couple children. Even if all you have is a single job. Put as much effort into the $10 an hour job as you would into the $100,000 job, the 6-figure job. because God, that's what God is looking for. Put your whole heart into it and do it for His glory. Now, this is geared toward men, but this applies to anybody, whether you're a man or a woman. Whatever God has given you, put your whole heart and soul into it, at least from His perspective. You know, you're to love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and you're to do it for His glory. And whatever He gives you, and you do it for His glory, that's when you will be told, well done, good and faithful servant. This has been 5 Minute Ministries, and I'll see you next time.